Hey, beloved, welcome back. Thank you for tuning in to another chapter of the book of Sean. I'm excited about Friday shows. My favorite shows happen on this day because it's just you and me. We get to talk. We get to have some dialogue about what's going on around the world. I got some best things that I've seen all week for you. Of course, I got some Ask Dr. Sean. We always do that, right? And that's always exciting and interesting because you guys send me amazing questions about some very interesting things going on in your lives. And I just appreciate it because, wisdom is what I do. Advice is what I kind of do. We're going to talk about what's going on in the world. I know you guys are a little tired of hearing about Russia and the Ukraine because that's the only thing the news seems to care about. I got a couple of those stories, sorry. But my take will be a little different. Let's do some headlines, people. So, in my attempt to help you not be Russiaed and Ukrained out, let's talk about Kim Kardashian. I bet you didn't see that coming because I don't usually talk about Kim Kardashian stories because normally I could care less. But I'm trying to give you a respite from international war, okay? So this is for you. And so apparently, very recently, as of Wednesday, I think, Kim Kardashian is now legally single, all right? A judge has declared her legally single. Just to be clear, I did not know being legally single was a thing. I didn't know that was a thing. Did you know that was a thing? As opposed to being illegally single, illicitly single? Like what? I mean, I don't know. I didn't know you could get like a legal declaration of your singality. See, I made that up. You like that? Steve will like that. I didn't know. But anyway, good for her, okay? If she wants to be legally single, I think absolutely good for her. She got what she wanted. I think it's great. But here's the part when we turn left, okay? Put your seatbelt on because this is about to go in a whole other direction. Because while it is true, and while it is the case that the judge declared her to be legally single, I think he should have declared her to be, more poignantly, legally insane. And I got nothing against Kim Kardashian. I don't know the sister. I don't know her. I got nothing against her, nothing against her family. But I'm just calling a thing, okay? Anytime you marry somebody who you already have a track record, who already has, rather, a track record of not being thoroughly stable, okay? Being a little narcissistic and bombastic, and you marry them after it's already clear that this person is not the most stablest person in the world, and you marry them, somehow believing that what you have with them behind closed doors is going to be fundamentally different than who they are in public, that's a case for legal insanity. And you know I'm right. What did Kim Kardashian think was going to happen when she married Kanye West? This guy's jumping up on the stage when people don't get awards he wants them to get, or when he doesn't get the greatest. Anytime somebody has to tell you that they're the greatest all the time, I'm just saying, it's a red flag, okay? It's a red flag. Because whether you like it or not, past behavior is always an indication of future action. I'm helping somebody. And I'm just saying, Kim Kardashian, I got nothing against you, but you need to understand that people don't change because they're in a relationship with you. Not just you, Kim, but everybody. People don't change because you with them. You understand what I'm saying? You can't, people hear me when I say this. You can't change people, okay? Relationships don't change people. People change themselves. And if a person doesn't want to be different, I'm sorry, they're going to be exactly who they are for the rest of their lives. Your love, no matter how great your love is, your love cannot change somebody else. Your love is an invitation for them to rise up to the level that you are offering them to change themselves. Your love is an invitation for change, but it is not the change itself. I'm doing my good talking today. Because I'm trying to help you understand that just because you love somebody and you sacrifice for somebody and you have babies with somebody and kids with somebody does not mean that that person is going to be fundamentally different in response to everything you're giving them. Because if it ain't in them, guess what? It ain't in them. If you act in a certain way before you met me, the odds are you're going to act the same way when we get together. And I would be naive to think that because I'm here, now all of a sudden you fundamentally different. That's why, here's some free advice. You ready for this? Read all the chapters in somebody's life where your name does not appear. Don't pick up an interest in somebody's life only on the pages where your name flashes across the screen, as it were. Go back and read some prior chapters that exist before you showed up, because you need to get an indication of who people are before they wanted to charm and seduce you. I'm going to get off this, Steve-O, but let me just say one more thing. If Kim Kardashian was here right now, if she was sitting right here and she said, Dr. Sean, let's do an Ask Dr. Sean, and I got some questions, I would say, Kim, no, you don't get to ask me questions. I just got one thing to say to you. I would say, Kim Kardashian, at some point in your journey, you're going to have to look at yourself, okay? Because you are the common denominator. All these marriages, all these relationships, all these people. And it's not that you're just running into the worst people in the world and they're horrible people. Maybe some of them are, but the common denominator is you, okay? And my dear sister Kim, you're already in another relationship and you just got out of a marriage. No time to heal, no time for reflection, no time to be single. Just serially dating and jumping from one person to the next is a wonderful way to end up needing to be legally single again. Oh, let's move on. Oh, let's talk about the other half of the equation. And Hailey, I apologize. Hailey is one of the directors here in the control room, and he loves Kanye West. So I apologize to Hailey in advance for everything that I'm going to say, okay? Hailey, you're my guy. You're like a little nephew. I care about you, but you happen to be a fan of someone who we're about to talk about. Let's talk about what Kanye, what's he now, Ye now? That's his new, listen, your mama named you Donda named you Kanye. And Donda knows best, okay? I'm not calling you Ye. I'm calling you Kanye, because Donda knows best. He named the whole album after her. All right, so apparently, check this out. Kanye West has this new video where Pete Davidson, who Kim Kardashian, his soon-to-be ex-wife apparently, is depicted, that's supposedly Pete Davidson, is depicted being kidnapped, tied up, and buried alive by Kanye. So Kanye has this, I guess this animated video. There's a special name for it. I don't know what the hell it is. But in the video, Pete Davidson is depicted. He's depicted as being kidnapped, tied up, and buried alive by Kanye. And one of the lines from the song, okay, in the video, is God saved me from that crash just so I could beat Pete Davidson's ass. Now, listen, this would be funny, and it is a little funny, but it would be funnier if thousands of women did not end up hurt and dead because of men who do things like this. I'm not assigning motive, and I'm not assigning any future behavior to Kanye West. I'm just saying I know all too well that a lot of women end up being stalked and they end up being abused and some of them even murdered by men who function under the notion that if I can't have her, nobody else can. And every sister watching right now is already saying amen, and you're already throwing your shoe. All the men are looking like they don't know what the hell I'm talking about, but the sisters know what I'm saying, because most women, especially most black women, brown women, white women, have at some point come across somebody who had a little bit of that in them. If I can't have you, nobody can. And in fact, some of you have had to deal with people who said it to you. And some of you, apparently Kim Kardashian is now one of them, had to deal with people who acted on the sensibility and the feeling. Now, it's just a video today, right? But it always, see, danger and crazy always starts as something small. And then it balloons and snowballs into something significant and something thoroughly out of control. This inability to let women go and to think that a woman belongs to you is how people get hurt. And again, I'm not assigning motive to Kanye West. I'm not even predicting future behavior. I'm just saying that this is a familiar pattern that gets followed by people who end up hurting women in devastating ways. If I can't have you, nobody can. And this inability to release somebody out of the circle of your familiar contentment, sexuality, this inability to let a woman go is how a lot of women get hurt. And quite frankly, none of this is funny. Let me give everybody some advice. You ready for this? Steve, this is for you too, because you barely listening. You need to listen to this part. If you don't want to lose somebody, then do what it takes to keep them. I just blessed myself. If you don't want to lose somebody, then do what it takes to keep them. And guess what? You won't have to go through the experience of losing them. It's crazy where people, it's just that simple. If you know that you're going to have a hard time living without somebody, then make sure you don't have to live without them. Do the things that they've been asking you and telling you and showing you that they need, and become the person that is equal to the task of loving them and being with them. As opposed to when it's time for them to go, now you want to turn into some narcissistic kleptomaniac that wants to just hold on to people and steal parts of who they are. Stop it, people. Nobody belongs to you, okay? You don't own nobody. People are not your possession. Women are not your possession. Men are not your possession. Control and manipulation have nothing to do with love. Nothing. People wanting to control you and manipulate you do not love you. You hear me? This video has nothing to do, whatever this video is, it has nothing to do with how much Kanye West loves or wants Kim Kardashian back. But it has everything to do with the fact that he wants to be in control. He wants to be able to decide, to define, and he is resentful of whatever it is she's doing right now. People who can't let go of you don't love you. I know that's hard for some of y'all to hear, but I came to say hard things. People who cannot let go of you don't love you, and they certainly don't love themselves. Because when I love you, I want you to be happy, even if being happy means that you can't be with me. Because love does not control. It does not bind. It does not make you a servant. Love liberates. Love releases you. Love says go, and if you're mine, you'll be back. Huh? Love says be free. Love says be better. Love says reach for more, even if reaching for more means that you don't get to reach with me. People who try to control you and hold on to you, right, want to know where you are, don't confuse that as them loving you. Where you at? What time you coming back? Checking your phone. Every 5 minutes a text. That's not love. That's somebody grooming you for a dangerous situation. Because when people love you, they trust you. At the very least, they trust themselves to know that even if I have to live without you, I'll be all right. Let me do one more, Steve-O, before we take this break, because I'm enjoying this. I could talk about this all night. So the government of Ukraine is asking, did you guys hear about this? You know about the war going on in the Ukraine with Russia, Vladimir Putin. The government of the Ukraine happens to be asking foreign citizens to come and help them fight against the Russians. Apparently, they want people from other countries to come and help them fight. And it was a, big thing. To me, this is so interesting, okay? Because, everybody's so pro-Ukraine, and I want the Ukrainians to liberate their countries, and I think the Russians should go back to Russia and sit down somewhere. I don't know what the hell Putin is thinking. But this is interesting, because I just need to say this right now, okay? I'm not going to the Ukraine to fight for democracy in the Ukraine when Republicans are trying to take my voting rights right here. Okay? I'm not going over there to fight for freedom and democracy when I got Republicans in the Senate trying to take my voting rights right here. No, people. We can't even get the John Lewis Voting Rights Act passed. And you want me to go somewhere else and fight for freedom and democracy? No, absolutely not. I think the Ukrainian president is a courageous man. I think he's a good man. But, sir, I won't be coming to fight, for your country. I'm not doing that. Do you think that if Nigeria and Ghana got into a war and Nigeria needed help and sent out a call to the world, do you think any of the Ukrainians would be signing up to help Nigeria or Ghana? You know that was a good question. And you know what the answer is. They would not. Again, I support the Ukrainian people. I'm not trying to make it all racial, but I'm just saying quite simply, no. I'm not going to fight and die for the Ukrainian people. That's not going to happen. My death will not be on Ukrainian soil. That's not going to happen. But I do know, Steve-O, who they should get to go fight. Okay? Because you know I was coming. I'm going to take this break. Y'all relax. All right. Go get the people that stormed the Capitol. Go get the numbnuts that stormed the Capitol on January 6th. That's who they should come get to fight in the Ukrainian war. Because clearly they claim to love freedom, and clearly they want to fight somebody. And they got guns and everything already. You only have to arm them. They already got guns. So go get all the people that stormed the Capitol on January 6th and let them fight for your freedom. Let's see how many of them actually sign up for a real war. You know what I'm saying? See, the only problem may be a lot of them apparently on Putin's side, which we will talk about a little later. But I just want to make it clear. I'm not going to fight no war in the Ukraine. Matter of fact, I'm not dying for America. But I will fight for Harlem and maybe Brooklyn, but not Queens. If the Russians want Queens, they can have it. Let's take a break. I'll be back with more headlines. Welcome back, everybody. So, you know, my producers and I, we were determined to give you some things going on in the world that were not Russian and Ukrainian related, because I know that's all we've been hearing. And listen, war is an important subject, and I understand why, but I know you watch tonight because you kind of want to get away from it, as do I. And so this is my offering to you, my dear beloved, okay? So let's talk about JetBlue Airlines, okay? Did you hear about what happened with JetBlue Airlines? So a pilot from JetBlue Airlines, was removed from his duties after he was found to be drunk with a blood alcohol level twice the legal limit. Apparently, a TSA officer noticed the pilot being impaired at a Buffalo airport. He summoned the police, and inevitably they made him take a breathalyzer test. And he was arrested and hopefully fired for trying to fly a plane drunk. Okay, and the reason I'm saying hopefully arrested because, you know, the language that they used was that he was removed from his duties. I don't need the cute language. When you drunk and trying to fly a plane, I need the language to be clear. Were you fired? What do you mean removed from duties? I need the word fired to be in the sentence. You know what I'm saying? Because listen, not only should this man be fired, he should be put on the no-fly list. I mean, there are hundreds of people in the air flying with, and you got their lives in your hand, and you flying around drunk? Bro, what are you doing? Some jobs are too important for you to be held to a standard so decadent and deceitful. You follow what I'm saying? When you signed up to be a pilot, you signed up for a high standard. And at least the bare minimum standard, if you can't drive a damn car without being drunk, or while being drunk, I should say rather, you definitely can't fly a plane. What the hell? See, man, let me tell you something. I already have anxiety about flying, just so y'all know. I mean, it's this big, heavy plane flying around in the thin air, and I'm still trying to work out the physics of that. And now I got to worry about some drunk pilot? I can't. Don't do this to me, people. Y'all pray for me. I can't take all this stress up in the air. I got people in the coach section, because I don't fly coach. I got people in the coach section fighting each other. I got a drunk pilot in the cockpit. And then this heavy plane is up in the thin air. Woo! But here's why I did this story. Not just to talk about the drunk pilot, but to remind you, you ready for this? Come on through here. That there's somebody's life in your hands as well. You didn't see that coming, did you? Oh yeah, there's somebody's life is in your hands. There's somebody's life is in your hands, and you should not play with the life that they have placed in your trust and in your care. See, when people are trusting you and loving you and committed to you and dating you and being raised by you or employing you, or you are employing people, people's jobs, people's hearts, people's futures, people's destinies, the best of people, people's pain, they're in your hands. And I'm trying to get everybody watching right now to understand that when you have somebody's life in your hand, you have to be held to a higher standard. At the very least, you can't be decadent and drunk with the kind of behavior that might destroy people, because there was too many people who should have been cared for and loved by people, but they weren't, because the people who were supposed to love them were inebriated, distracted, not present, already broken, and they ruined people who didn't deserve to be ruined. I'm just trying to tell you today, what would you say if I told you that somebody in your life needs you at your best? Somebody in your family needs you present and accounted for. Somebody in your circle of employment or friendship, they need you to be present and they need you to handle them with care. When you got somebody's heart and future and employment and pain and faith in your hands, there are only 3 things you should be focused on doing. You ready? Here's the first one. Be careful. Number 2, do no harm. And number 3, handle with care. And if we acted that way with people, there'd be a lot fewer broken people in the world. Kids would not be destroyed and ruined. And most of all, we could sustain relationships and friendships, and people would want to hire us and make us elevated and give us new opportunities, because they would know we could be trusted with relationship and the confidence of someone's life. Now, I don't care what you did before you turned the show on. I don't care what you did yesterday. But from this day forward, can we follow those 3 things? You ready? Be careful, do no harm, and handle with care. If you apply that to everybody that's in your life, everybody you're supposed to love and care about, then I promise you everybody in your life would get to the destination that they're trying to reach. And so would you, by the way. So I don't know about this drunk pilot, but shout out to the TSA agent. You know what I'm saying? Who found out about this. Let's move on. Vladimir Putin. I got to do it. Come on. You know, how can I not do a Putin story? I mean, come on. You knew 1 or 2 was coming, right? Vladimir Putin is now, for some reason, he maintains, and he is still the darling of the white evangelical Christians. And I'm trying to figure out why white evangelical Christians are supported. So all last week, now, a lot of them have changed their tune, by the way, because, you know, they go wherever the wind is blowing. But last week, a lot of white evangelicals were supporting Putin. And some of them are apparently still supporting them. And it's amazing, because for most of my life, white evangelicals hated the Soviet Union and they hated communism, but now they secretly love Putin. And here's why. You ready for this? They love Putin because Putin hates homosexuality, Putin likes Trump, and Putin is all about power. And if you think about it, that is really what white evangelicals are really all about. They hate abortion, they hate gay people, they love Donald Trump, and all they really want is power. Okay? And in fact, white evangelicals in this country see Russia as the model for what they want America to be. They want America closed to outsiders, they want it to be anti-gay, and they want white people to have all the power. That's Russia. That is essentially Russia. Russia is closed out to outsiders. Russia can't stand gay folks. There are no black and brown people there of any consequence. And in Russia, white people have all the power. Everybody in the country is white. Russia's closed off to immigration. And that's exactly what white evangelicals want America to be, which is why they love Putin so much. But I thought the Bible said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. I read that somewhere. I can read, people. And I just thought, I read that. And didn't Jesus say that on the Sermon on the Mount? Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the children of God. But white evangelicals, they don't care about nothing Jesus said. They're like, look, we want power. It's amazing to me how white evangelicals want everybody to be a follower of Jesus. There are 2 things that they care about. They want everybody to be a follower of Jesus Christ while they keep people ignorant. Yeah, because that's what they do. And the contradictions of white evangelicals and the hypocrisy that they amount and amass and perpetrate against everybody else are amazing. Here 2, just for example, ready? You ready for this, Steve-O? Here 2. Here's the first one. White evangelicals say that everybody should be a believer. That's what being evangelical means. It means that everybody should be a believer and everybody should love Jesus Christ and change their lives, right? And go to church and carry Bibles. And then they supported Ronald Reagan, who never went to church, who probably didn't know any Bible verses, who probably didn't crack a Bible. And they supported Ronald Reagan over Jimmy Carter, who taught Sunday school every Sunday, even when he was in the White House. How do you, if you're a white evangelical, how do you support Ronald Reagan over Jimmy Carter? Which one was the real Christian? No, the hypocrisy is even worse. You ready for this? White evangelicals can't stand fornication, and they are against divorce. Don't be sleeping around, Steve-O. And if you get married, you got to stay married. No divorce. And then they supported Donald Trump, a man who's been divorced at least twice, who is a serial fornicator and an alleged rapist. Allegedly. And they don't see no problem with that, because that's hypocrisy at its best. Let me get off there and just simply say this. White evangelicals, those of you who are watching, the two of you who tune in, you all have lost all your moral authority. And Jesus would be ashamed of you, okay? And if he's not ashamed of you, I am. Let me do my last one before I take this break. This is an interesting story. So, Juzema Goldring. Juzema Goldring. You ever heard of her? Okay, that's her right there. She's a black transgendered woman who lives in Atlanta. She was minding her own business one day, and the police arrested her for jaywalking. I didn't know we were still arresting people for jaywalking, by the way, but they arrested her for jaywalking, and they claimed that there was cocaine inside her stress ball. Okay, that's a stress ball. I didn't even know what the hell. I didn't know what a stress ball was, by the way. I had to literally Google stress ball, because I don't know. I didn't know. But the police thought in Atlanta that there was cocaine in one of those stress balls right there. Okay, turns out they cut it open, and the only thing they found in the stress ball was the stuff that the manufacturer put in the damn stress ball to help people deal with their stress. But check this out. Juzema ended up spending 6 months in jail. 6 months in jail for jaywalking because the police thought there was drugs in her stress ball. And they couldn't find any drugs, and they kept trying to find some. And she ended up spending 6 months in jail for jaywalking, people. Huh? But thanks be to the Creator. Sweet little baby Jesus. Juzema is my kind of person. Guess what she did? She sued the police officer who detained her. And she ended up winning $1.5 million for false arrest. I love her so much. She is my new hero. You understand what I'm saying? Because there's got to be a penalty for bad behavior, people. If you don't hold people accountable for what they do to you, they're going to keep right on doing it. If you don't hold people accountable for delaying you, stressing you, hurting you, breaking you, ruining you, then they're going to keep right on doing it. Don't expect people to draw boundaries for themselves. If you're waiting for somebody to be honorable enough to draw a boundary for themselves, it ain't never going to happen. You got to draw the boundary for them. You follow what I'm saying? Because most of the time when people get away with doing things without consequences, they don't learn from what they've done. They just keep right on doing it, and they come to the belief that it's okay with you. And it must be okay with you because you didn't stop it. And you didn't stand in the way. But Juzema did, to the tune of $1.5 million. You follow me? So I got to take this break, but let's go over it together. Stand up for yourself. How about that? How about you start making people respect you? How about that? And always sue the people who arrest you for no reason. That was good. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, other people don't have to understand your value. Other people don't have to respect your limits. Other people don't have to come into your life and treat you good. They don't owe you that. That is the gift that you give to yourself. And when Juzema decided to sue this police officer, she wasn't just suing him, she was blessing her. And now because of her, all of us are blessed. Let's take this break. I'll be right back with some more headlines and some best things that I've seen all week. Welcome back, everybody. So, during the break, Steve-O and I talked. And here's what Steve-O just said. He said he would be more than willing to go to jail for 6 months for $1.5 million. That's why I love you. It's just so interesting. He's like, I'll go. But there are probably a lot of people who would go. I'm not going to jail for 6 months for $1.5 million. But if I do go for 6 months for jaywalking, I'm walking out with $1.5 million. So it all washes out. Anyway, all right. One more Ukrainian story. One more Russian-Ukrainian story. This is a good one. This is going to make you feel good, all right? I think this is the last one I'm doing for the night. So just sit down and enjoy this one. So a blessed brother named Manish Dave, who owns an Indian restaurant in Kyiv, which is interesting. For the past week, the basement of his restaurant, you see him standing there, that's Manish Dave. The basement of his restaurant has doubled as a bunker for people needing shelter. You may have seen this story actually on one of the news outlets. So dozens of children and pregnant women and students and homeless people and elderly people have all come to the basement seeking shelter from that, the onslaught and the waging of unrepentant war. And so Manish not only provides shelter for people who end up in the basement of the restaurant, he provides food, he feeds them. And more than food, he probably gives them comfort. And so I just wanted to do this story to say shout out to Manish Dave. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to this blessed brother who's helping humanity by providing a place for people to feel safe and to have a meal. I can't imagine what it must feel like to have your block being bombed. And where would I go? I was thinking about that the other day. Like, where would I go if the Russians started bombing my block? Where would I go? And so, you know, I honor the fact that this blessed brother has taken his restaurant and decided to help people figure out the answer to that question out. And here's one thing I know, man. It doesn't take much to help people. You know what I'm saying? You don't have to have $1 million to help people or a big anything to do a lot for people. Sometimes a smile can do it. Sometimes all it takes to be able to move and motivate people and make people feel amazing is just saying good morning and giving them a sincere hug with no agenda attached to it. Got to add that second part in LA. I'm just telling you. Sometimes the only thing that you need to do is just be kind to people, and you can turn their whole lives around. How about this? When you see hungry people, feed them. When you see hurting people, at least try to heal them or not be an impediment to their healing. And when you see people in distress, how about you try to comfort them? And those are some basic rules to live by, some things that will make your life long and make you wealthy beyond money. And when you see hungry people, you try to feed them. When you see hurting people, you try to heal them or not be an impediment to their healing. And when you see people who are in distress, you are determined in no uncertain terms to comfort them. And you don't have to know what to say. Half the time, I don't know what to say when I'm with people who are in distress. But I've decided and I've learned over the course of my life that part of the healing for other people is just you being present, just you being there. Most of the time, you don't have to say anything. You just have to let people know that I'm here with you and that you are not alone. Because most people just don't want to be alone in their hour of need and distress and brokenness. Sometimes the only thing you need to give people is the assurance that you're present. So shout out to Manish Dave and all the people who are helping him do this great work of helping all the great people of the Ukraine overcome what they are dealing with. And every day, drip by drip, sometimes against the will of the world, we find and they are finding the will to go forward. All right, people, let's do some best things that I've seen all week. All right. I'm hoping there are no Ukrainian stories in here. No. Okay, good. I got a video for you. I want you to see it. You ready for some joy? You ready for some joy? You ready? Okay. Get your tissues out. We found this video. Don't play it yet. We found this video of a father who is reconnected with his daughter who's surprising him for his 60th birthday. Let the joy rise. Go ahead and play it. I love seeing people happy. What is that about me? What does that say about me? Like when I see people cry, I think I almost cry. When I see people happy, I get happy. I love that. You see how happy he was? I don't think we can play it again. We got some prohibitions about playing videos again. But anyway, that man was so happy. Oh, that just made my day. I'm just saying, you know what I'm saying? We got war breaking out. We got white evangelicals trying to be crazy. But at least we got a 60-year-old man who's happy to see his daughter. Happy All right, let me keep going. All right, let's talk about Josh and the clown before I take this break. So apparently in New Zealand, when you are about to get fired, you can bring a support. You might need this, Sivo. When you're gonna get fired, you can bring a support person with you to the meeting. And apparently Josh, this Josh Thompson, got an ominous email. That's Josh in the pink shirt. He got an ominous email. And he kind of thought he would be fired, and so they allowed him to bring someone with him. And the person he decided to bring was that guy next to him, a clown. He brought a clown to the meeting where he thought he was gonna get fired. And all throughout the meeting, the clown was making animals out of balloons and cracking jokes, so that Josh was laughing and absorbing the punishment and the pain with a sense of humor and dexterity. First of all, shout out to New Zealand for allowing you to bring support people to difficult meetings so that you're not in there by yourself. You know what I'm saying? Why don't we do that in America? You know, you should be able to bring somebody to support you. Although in America, I don't know how that would, people in New Zealand seem like they're a bit calmer than we are. You bring the wrong person to the meeting where you're going to get fired, and it might be a problem. Anyway, let me say this before I take this break. The person I would bring to the meeting if I was going to get fired, which knock on wood, I'm not going to be, would be my mama. You hear me? Because my mama would let whoever's trying to fire me have it. My mama would say, you know you're going to hell, right? I hope you live right, because you're going to wake up in hell for doing this. This is a man of God. Anyway, listen, people, we all need support, and we all need to laugh. So shout out to all the people who support us and all the people who make us laugh. Hopefully I'm one of them. We'll be right back, right after this. I got some more good news for you people, because, you know, that's kind of what I do. I'm not the bearer of bad news. I'm good for the soul. I try to be good for the soul. And I got some more best things that I've seen all week. All right, so if you didn't like the guy who was happy to see his daughter, you're probably decadent and Satan's sister or nephew. And if you didn't like the guy who brought a clown to the firing, then okay, this one you're gonna like. This is gonna get you, all right? My goal is to get you. I'm gonna get you with this one. Let's talk about Claire Rowan. So Claire Rowan is the mother of a 16-year-old son. That's her son right there. And unbeknownst to all of you watching, you can't look at him and tell, her son suffers from extreme and deadly food allergies, which means he can only eat one thing. There's only one thing on the planet that he apparently can eat, and it is a baby formula. And that's the only thing he can eat. Well, one morning, Claire woke up and the FDA had recalled the one powdered infant formula that her son can eat because he is allergic and deadly allergic to all other foods except this one. This formula is the sole source of nourishment for her son. He needs it to survive, and we didn't see it in that photo of him, but he has a permanent feeding tube inserted in him. So apparently there's a whole lot of medical issues going on with her son. And so Claire woke up one morning and the FDA had recalled the only thing her son can eat. So she went on Facebook and told people her dilemma, and strangers from all over the place started hunting and finding cans of this formula that were not recalled. People all over the country decided to help her find this formula. And in fact, some people not only went to the store to see if they could find the formula for her, they had cans themselves for their own children, and they gave them to Claire. Because while their children can eat other brands, her son can only eat that one. So far, she has collected 68 cans of this formula. Shout out to all the good people who are helping her. And if you want to help Claire Rowan, then, you know, go to Facebook and contact her and see if you can help her figure out how to get more cans of this formula for her son to survive. But I wish her well, and I certainly wish her son long life and a prosperous journey. Let me do one more, because this is a great one too, okay? This one might get you, okay? Let's talk about Brandon Harris. So Brandon Harris and Surah Sohan grew up together in Maryland. They went to elementary school together. They went to grade school together. That's the two of them right there. But as they got older, the two of them sort of separated, as is often the case when you get older. You know, you sort of break away from people, and their lives went in different directions. All right. Well, while in college, Brandon created a research project which centered around telling people stories. And as is the case, when somebody is indelible in your life, their story becomes a permanent fixture in who you are. So while he was in college, he decided to take the project that he had created to tell stories, to tell the story of his friend, his childhood friend, Sura. And while he was working on the project and working on school, Sura was in jail, sentenced to 15 years for a burglary that he had committed. Well, Brandon decided to share this story. And in sharing the story became popular. The story of his friend, his life's journey, and how he ended up in jail, all the ups and downs and the twists and turns. And a lawyer ultimately saw this story. And the lawyer petitioned the court to re-examine Sura's 15-year sentence. And apparently the documentary was so powerful and so elevating and so full of content that would help put this young man Sura's life in context. Because I always tell you that unless you see people in context, you will never understand the truth of their beauty, even if they are in jail. Apparently this documentary was so powerful that when the lawyer presented it to the judge to have a new hearing, to have his sentence reduced, the judge was so affected that on the day of the hearing, the judge set Sura free. Listen, if that don't make joy bells ring up in your spirit, you ain't got no damn spirit. Do you hear what I said to you? The judge understood that every sin has a story and every sinner has a journey. And instead of just looking at what the young man did, the judge decided to take the context of the young man's life. And the judge decided, he said this in open court, the judge decided that what this young man did not constitute nor represent the truth of who he was. Woo! And all because his friend Brandon, while he was still in jail, still believed in him. Ooh. And all because his friend Brandon, while he was still under the scrutiny of his decisions and his mistakes, his friend Brandon could still see the good in him. I pray, I'm going to take this break, but I pray that you have friends like that in your life. I pray that at some level, on some glad day, that you walk into that kind of a relationship, that you have people who can believe in you anyway, that you find someone who will tell your story for you when you can't tell it for yourself, someone who can see the good in you, who understands the value and the depth of what you bring to the table, even when you're being shallow and superficial. Whew. I pray that you are connected with people who embrace you, all of you, recklessly, dangerously, vociferously, with courage and bravery. Yeah, I pray that before you get to the grave, that you know this kind of love. Let's take a break, people. I'm feeling good about myself. We'll be right back with some Ask Dr. Sean. Welcome back, everybody. Listen, I enjoyed the best things that I've seen all week. Those were really great, by the way. Great, heartwarming stories. Because we just need love and kindness in the world. And so, you know, I try to bring it to you whenever I can. I also try to help people because I think helping people is important. Because I've needed help. I've needed advice and wisdom. So that's really why I do this show. I really do this show because I've been in the position that most of you and some of you who send me questions are in. I've needed direction. And sometimes I got it and sometimes I didn't. And I'm committed to make sure that if you need some answers, let's find them together. Let's do some Ask Dr. Sean. So take a look at this video sent in. I'm not pronouncing that name. Go ahead.
Hey, Dr. Sean. I just started dating a guy, and I just found out that he dated my cousin. He's telling me it was just one day years ago. She acts as if they were in love, but she has dated half the city. Do you think I should proceed with dating him, knowing her history with men?
I will play that again. Play that one more time, please.
Hey, Dr. Sean. I just started dating a guy, and I just found out that he dated my cousin.
Okay.
He's telling me it was just one day years ago.
Okay.
She acts as if they were in love, but she has dated half the city. Do you think I should proceed with dating him, knowing her history with men?
Oh, okay. Interesting question. I just want to make sure I got it. It was I got a little tied up and twisted there. No, not because of anything that you did. It's just the status of my brain. Just where I am today. I did a lot of talking. Great question. Here's my policy on this, okay? People had a life before you met them, okay? And sometimes their lives intersects with yours because they have either known people that you know or they have dated people that you're connected to. And we can't run around punishing people for having a life before we met them or before we were interested in them or before we started dating them. The important thing is that you know. See, that's the important thing. See, what I always say to people is this: just give me the truth and then let me decide. Tell me what the facts are, and I will decide if this journey is worth the time and the trouble that it's going to take to complete. And you have the most important thing. You have the truth. So somebody along the way respected you enough, honored you enough to tell you exactly what it was. Now, I don't remember if it was either him or her. I'm hoping it was him, because that says a lot about him. If he came forward to tell you, this is what you need to know. Because we both know, you and me, we both know there are a lot of people out in the world who would have never told you, who would just try to act like it never happened, and then maybe if it comes up, maybe they'll own it, or maybe they'll just say people are talking. But thank God for the people who honor and respect us enough, rather, with the truth, who give us fundamentally what we need, the information that we need to make courageous decisions. Okay? And here's the other thing. You ready for this? It doesn't matter what kind of relationship they had. If they could have been hot and heavy and having monkey sex 14 times a day, every single day of the week and 14 times on Sunday, so what? If they could have just dated one time, gone out one time, had one cup of coffee, never touched each other, never even shook hands, so what? You say, why would you say so what to that, Dr. Sean? I'm saying so what to that because whatever it was, you can't change it. Whatever they had before you came into the picture, you can't make it different. You know what I'm saying? You can't augment that reality. That reality is fixed in time. The only thing you can focus on is what will be your reality and your relationship with him now. If you're clear about the fact that they don't still want each other, they're not still dating each other, then this is something to go forward on based upon your connection to him and not his connection to somebody else. Okay? I'm just trying to tell you. Because if we make that the rule and the standard, you won't be dating nobody. Because everybody has been with somebody who ain't you. To your cousin's part, that is to say, you sort of intimated that your cousin might be a little loose. I ain't getting into that. I'm not getting into casting aspersions on somebody else's adult sexuality. Okay? Whether she's been with half the city, the whole city, 10 cities, 9 cities, one person. Nobody. That ain't none of my business. I ain't got no insight into that at all. That's what that sister wants to do. And as long as everybody is a consenting adult and everybody knows what's going on, hey, God bless your ministry. It's so strange that I would use the word ministry with that. Anyway. All right, let's do one more real quick. Someone DM me this question. My best friend's boyfriend embarrasses her in public. He is disrespectful and barks orders at her. It makes me so uncomfortable that I don't want to be around the two of them in public. Should I tell her how I feel or just distance myself from her? All right. Thank you for that question. I'm going to give you a good answer for this. It's a very simple one, by the way. Whenever you feel like you have someone that you love in harm's way, you have a moral obligation to open your mouth and to say something. Now, she does not have an obligation to receive what you say, but you have an obligation as a friend, especially a best friend, to say, hey, this is what I see, this is what's unacceptable to me, and this is what I can no longer tolerate. Okay? Sometimes the people in your life can't draw a line until you draw one. And once they see you drawing lines, they begin to ask questions as to why lines are even necessary. You absolutely should say something to your best friend. Let's go over it again. This is your best friend. It's not just some person that you met in the coffee shop, on the plane with the drunk pilot. I don't know how that came back up. this is someone who is committed to you and you are committed to them. You absolutely say something. You must absolutely fight to help her save her own life. Now, you can't save her, but you can empower her to do it herself. And there's nobody in my life who I'm going to watch somebody disrespect them over and over again, and I ain't going to say something. Now, I may not talk to the person because I may not want to get into all that, but I'm going to talk to you. Huh? If I'm connected to you, oh, we're going to have us a little conversation. It's going to go like this. I don't know why in the world your pride has not woke up, arisen, and compelled you to demand the respect that you deserve. Yeah, don't let people talk to you any kind of way. Make people respect you. That's what I would say. And he's not respecting you. And fundamentally speaking, there is no love without respect. Okay? Listen, I'm running out of time. I've run out of it already. What's the countdown? Because I can't hear. Thank you for tuning in. I will see you soon. Tell me when we get to 10. Listen, people, y'all be good to each other.